In previous videos, I've discussed what I call the rubber band theory. It's just a name I coined to label basically the forces of regression to the mean. And all it means is that the further the market gets stretched away from the average, whether it be upside or downside, the more violent and sustained the reaction tends to be once the market reverses. So at this bottom in 2009, this was the second most destructive bear market in U.S. history. You can see during the crash how far price got stretched below the 200-day moving average. This was a panic in line with what occurred in 1932. So, based on the rubber band theory, the bull market that followed this extreme panic event should be one of the greatest bull markets that we will ever see. And so far, it's living out to its expectation. However, I've been saying for many months that we need to finish with a bubble phase. We need a buying panic at the top that is proportional to the selling panic that occurred here at the bottom. And so far, we just have nothing even vaguely resembling that. And so far, all I'm seeing is analyst after analyst and trader after trader trying to call the top, which I predicted this exact thing would happen. Every other day somebody's going to come out with some compelling reason for why the stock market is on the verge of topping, and that we're going to get another 87 style crash. And nothing could be further from the truth. These same people have been making this call year after year, week after week, and they just keep getting it wrong time after time after time. At some point, people are going to realize that these analysts are simply idiots. They just have no clue how markets really work. And I'll say it again, markets are driven by the forces of regression. This was one of the most extreme selling panics in history. Before this bull market is over, we have to have one of the most extreme buying panics in history. For that to happen, we need to have the public embrace this bull market. People need to, the mindset needs to shift to a mode that thinks that there is no risk in the stock market, and free money is there to be had. We aren't there yet. I know a lot of analysts are trying to extrapolate that, but we just simply aren't even close. I've shown you the robo ratio in one of my last videos, and those dumb money confidence levels, and they just simply are nowhere near levels that would signal even just a normal bear market or bull market top, such as we had in 2007, and not even vaguely close to the kind of levels that we saw during the last bubble in the stock market in 2000. So you can just ignore these analysts. They have no idea how markets behave. So here's what's going to happen in the coming months, and usually a vertical phase of a bubble will last 6 to 8 months, and price will start to churn steadily higher. Once we get an intermediate cycle, the final intermediate cycle bottom, then price will start to churn steadily higher. And you can see here, as we came out of this bottom in August, This is exactly what is happening. Remember, this is when all of the perma-bear analysts were calling for a crash in September, a crash in October, and the market has done the exact opposite of what they were calling for. Again, these people, they're going to try and call a top every other day, and they're going to continue to be wrong day after day after day. And what's going to happen is that the people that just are just following price, your neighbor that really has no idea what he's doing in the stock market, but he just plows money into his 401k every other week, and he notices that he's making money every month. Makes more and more money, and so these people are getting rich by just sitting and doing nothing. They don't, the fundamentals and the scare tactics just don't apply. They ignore that stuff. And so what happens is at some point, all of the perma-bears and all of the analysts that keep trying to call tops and keep looking for, the next crash, the memory of this is still etched in most people's minds. So we keep looking for this to repeat, and it's just not going to. And so at some point, once we get into the vertical phase, and by the time we get maybe halfway through it, all of these people that just keep trying to call tops, well, they notice that their next door neighbor is just making money month after month after month, week after week, and finally at some point these people, these analysts, these traders, finally, the whole perma-bear camp capitulates, and then we get the final 2 to 3 months of the vertical phase as everybody starts to pile into the market, and price just goes nutty. And this is where I keep telling people that the NASDAQ it's going to be a piece of cake. 10,000 is going to be a piece of cake. So let me convert over to the NASDAQ chart so you can see this. So the 2,000 top, and I've shown this chart before, the big, huge 15-year consolidation, and then we've gotten this breakout. The actual top was at about 51.32, I think, but for our purposes, we can just round down and call it 5,000. Once the market broke through that level, I told you this was going to happen, that the market would deliver a massive move to the upside after breaking out of that 15-year basing pattern. And you can see here on this long-term chart that is exactly what is happening. And the whole way up, people have doubted me, said I was wrong, and we're already in less than a year, we're already a third of the way there, and we're just now starting what I think is going to be the vertical phase, where we really start to stretch price far above this 200-day moving average. At a bubble top, price can be upwards of 60 to even 100% above the 200-day moving average before the final top arrives. So you can see here in this long-term chart, we're not even really stretched that far above the 200-day moving average yet. Clearly, nothing that would indicate that we're in the final month or two of a bubble. But yet, like I said, the whole way up, people are gonna, every other day we're gonna hear calls for a top, and these people are gonna, they've already missed pretty much all of this, and they're gonna continue to miss the vertical phase until we get into the last 1 to 3 months. That's when everyone will capitulate. They'll look back. They'll realize that they missed one of the true buying opportunities that investors, one of the really great opportunities where a lot of money can be made very fast. They will look back and realize that they missed it, and they will panic as they don't want to miss any more of it, and then all of those people will end up buying at the top, and then they will get caught when the bubble pops. I've tried for months and months to get people in early here so that they can ride the bubble up, and then we can get out before the bubble pops. We're not going to be in a panic trying to catch the tail end of the vertical phase because we missed most of it. Hopefully we're going to be hopefully I've convinced most people to get in early and ride this entire vertical phase up, and then unlike everybody else, we will be getting out at the top rather than buying at the top and getting caught. So in my nightly reports, I've gone over in great detail how we're going to trade this. Just like the baby bull in gold, this is one of the few times during a bull market where a lot of money can be made fast. You have to understand how a baby bull works in order to make money. You also have to understand how a vertical phase behaves to make money. Cycles are probably not going to work very well during a bubble phase. Sentiment probably won't work very well. Technicals won't work at all. So you can see here we've broken out of this 2-month basing pattern here in the NASDAQ. The S&P I think has probably completed the breakout above 2,500. Just earlier this week, we were seeing people calling for a 10 and 20% correction, and instead what we got was a half cycle low that was barely able to drop 4 days before reversing, moving right back above 2,500. And I think we've completed the breakout above 2,500 in the S&P, and all we really need now, I think, to put the finishing touches on the start of the vertical phase is for the NASDAQ 100, which should be one of the leaders during this final vertical phase, to break through this 6,000 resistance zone that's been capping price here for the last a couple months. And I think we're going to at least test that next week and probably break through it. And then at that point, I think we've got all the confirmation we need to say that the vertical phase has begun. And if you want to keep listening to the idiots that have no idea what's going on, that keep trying to call a top every other day, then be my guest. You will blow your opportunity to make an incredible amount of money very fast during a vertical phase, just like almost everyone blew the opportunity during the baby bull phase in gold.